15 August 1945. Brisbane erupts in wild celebration. Men, women and children are cheering and dancing in the streets. Buildings are strung with bunting. Confetti swirls like a summer storm.
Victory. Victory in the Pacific. World War II is at an end.
Grateful Queenslanders come together to celebrate and welcome home the nation's heroic troops. It had been a very different scene 6 years earlier, a mere 20 years from the war to end all wars. Australians were once again called to arms. A brave generation stood tall. Shipping out to foreign lands, they stood shoulder to shoulder with their allies, united in the face of a destructive foe. But in 1941, when the first bombs fell on Pearl Harbor and Malaya was invaded, the threat to our freedom loomed closer to Australian shores. And when Singapore fell and bombers darkened Darwin's skies, our troops were called home to repel the enemy at our door. These are our darkest hours. As the invaders press relentlessly towards our shores, Queenslanders brace for attack. Air raid shelters are dug, windows blackened, and supplies rationed. Our valiant sailors and airmen, outnumbered but undaunted, patrol the Pacific. In the stifling jungles of Borneo and New Guinea, our courageous troops battle raiders and nature alike. 1942 brings a turning point. General MacArthur commands vast military forces from Brisbane's MacArthur Place. Shoulder to shoulder with allies, our courageous troops take the fight to the enemy and defend our shores. In the jungles, on the ocean, and in the air, countless feats of heroism and sacrifice begin to turn the tide of war. With relentless determination, the Allies push back the invaders, back through stretches of the Pacific with its strategically placed islands, back through steamy jungles and rugged tracks, and back across the vast tracts of Eastern Asia, until finally, 75 years ago, the word comes through.
Men have today surrendered. The last of our enemies is made low. Peace has once again come to the world. Let us thank God for His faithfulness and His mercy. Long live the King.
The enemy has surrendered. It's victory. Victory in the Pacific. Queenslanders are overjoyed. Thousands flood Brisbane streets, ecstatic. Relief and jubilation overflows. Laughing, cheering, singing and dancing. They don paper hats, wave streamers and flags. Anything that can be made into confetti is put to that task. Banners are hung, and a string of lights is draped from the clock tower of City Hall. And as our victorious troops parade down Queen Street, some scramble up buildings, perching on shop awnings to salute their comrades in arms as they march by. But beneath the parades and celebrations runs an undercurrent of sadness. For many of our brave servicemen and women did not return home. Our peace and freedom bought by their ultimate sacrifice. Others have returned broken, in body or in spirit. For them, a hard, long road to peace still stretches out ahead. On this, the 75th anniversary of Victory in the Pacific, we remember our heroic servicemen and women. Those who returned, and those who gave their lives to defend us. And we pay tribute to all generations of Australian defence personnel who, to this day, continue to protect and defend our Australian way of life.